reading this book in our book club. It's by Thich Nhat Hanh, No Mud, No Lotus, which is basically suffering and happiness coexist. So you can't have a lotus without mud, right? You can't have the good without the shitty. It's not about one goes away so that you can have another. It's about, you mentioned like the impermanence of it, right? Like I'm in a depressive episode. At some point it goes away. This is my reality right now. And, it's not about like, how do I shove this away so I can get over here to being happy joy guy Russ again? It's my mood state. Big deal. I still want to, do my laundry. How do I do it? That's been really helping me, like the impermanence of it all.
Welcome to Normalize the Conversation by Inspiring My Generation. I'm your host, Francesca. Today, I'm joined by Russ Jones, host of the ADHD Big Brother podcast, ADHD coach, and someone who is deeply passionate about helping people better understand their brains and build systems that actually work for them. In today's conversation, we're getting real about what depression actually feels like behind closed doors. The parts people don't always see. We talk about depressive episodes, addiction recovery, ADHD, self-harm, emotional overwhelm, and why asking for help can feel so difficult even when we know we need it. Whether you're personally struggling, supporting someone you love, or just trying to better understand mental health, I hope this conversation reminds you that you are not alone.
Russ, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited for our conversation, but before we begin, I want to check in. How are you really?
Oh, that's a good question. It's a good question, timely right now too. I'm inside, in the middle of a depressive episode, literally right now. And we can talk about it if you want. I'm really good when there's other people around, and I'm noticing that it gets dark when I'm alone. But I do have some good scaffolding just so everyone's can be, rest easy. But like when my kids are around, I'm playing video games with my kids. Girlfriend's around, I'm hanging out with my girlfriend. But it's one of those shitty times, right? Where it's like I'm in everything. When I'm by myself, my brain goes cynical, oppositional, dreadful. Imposter syndrome, just self-attack, you know what I mean? So you asked, that's who I am right now.
Love your answer, because when I'm in a depressive episode, it's why it's so hard, I think, for a lot of my friends to really understand it, is because when I'm in it and I'm with them, right? I'm like, I can experience like the joy of this moment, right? I can laugh with you and it's kind of fun. But the minute that stops and I'm alone, it all comes crashing back so hard. And it's like sometimes when I'm around you, you might notice that I'm lower, but most of the time I'm actually able to kind of match your energy. As soon as I'm alone, it's gone.
Do you find it funny though too? I'm experiencing it as a yearning right now. Like it's like a hunger, but not in my belly. It's a hunger in my chest for something to help me. But what it is, it feels like it's a hunger towards alcohol or drugs or something like that, which thank God I'm not doing anymore. So it pervades. It just remains as a hunger. You get advice from people when you're depressed to go be around people, which is obviously great advice, but it's usually the first things to go when I hit a depressive episode. All the things that are holistically good for me are literally the first things on the chopping block. I'm not going to eat good. I'm not going to exercise. I don't want to see anybody.
It's so frustrating because I don't want to feel this way, right? But it's so hard to not feel this way, right? Like, I want to feel better, but it takes so much energy to stand up and go outside and go do these things. Like there's nothing left inside of me. It's not that I don't want to try. It's not that I don't care. It's not that I want to fuel it. is that it's so much.
Hard. And it's all homework. Oh my God, the cognitive homework you're supposed to do. Well, let's think about what is the positive side of this thing. Let's think about this aspect. It's like, that's all homework, which requires energy, which requires a battery. And I mean, I'm ADHD. So like I have such limited executive function juice. So to do homework, no. Anyway.
For me, one thing that's been really, I guess, helpful is when I'm starting to feel really depressed and down. I've been trying to let my friends know, and I'm like, okay, so I liked Winnie the Pooh growing up. Now I'm going to go off tangent.
You're going to go Eeyoring on me?
No, but one thing I really loved was that even when Eeyore was so depressed and he didn't want to go anywhere and he stayed home, his friends always showed up to include him. Yeah. So one thing that's been really helpful for me is letting my friends know, like this, I'm starting to feel this way. Sometimes I'm actually scared, and like I'll let them know. And then I'm like, but please don't stop texting and calling, even if I say no every time. Or I don't really like to go outside much right now, but I don't mind if someone comes here. I'm just not going to come to you. So you want to come here,
that's
right?
Great.
And then we can order food in or bring something over, because I promise there's no food in my fridge when I'm in a depressive episode. There rarely is when I'm not, to begin with. I just don't cook. I'm going to learn.
Yeah.
But that's been so helpful, is giving them like specific instructions of, please still
that's cool.
Show me that you care, because I'm going to seem like I don't. And it's not that I don't, it's that I have nothing left inside of me.
Yeah, man, that's good. Yeah. I have like I call them my core four. So, cause I don't go, I do this on my podcast, right? I talk about my mental health, because it's like normalizing the conversation, right? We talk about it. That makes it easier, right? So but I don't, in the real world, I don't go out vocalizing it all the time. But I do have 4 people that I can call, and they know about my, that I could get depressed, and I can just call them whenever. Could call them at 2 a.m. if I'm struggling. But I haven't taken them up on that, but just knowing that that's there for me is super helpful.
It makes such a difference to know that that you have someone in those moments where your brain's trying to convince you that you're alone. But wait, I'm so curious. Why is it more difficult, do you think? Or why do you not talk about it as much in real life as you can on your podcast?
You mean like to strangers?
Just like in general, talking about your mental health in person with people around you.
I think that's a conditioning thing that we get conditioned to not want to deal with people's responses, because nobody knows how to fucking react to it. They'll get like, you've made me uncomfortable. And then they're like, well, then it's almost like this auto response of, I have to provide joy to you. I have to tell you things that are happiness. And so it's like, oh God, I don't want to now deal with educating you on me and what it's maybe a case by case.
Yeah.
But if I'm answering your question as honest as I can, that's probably why I don't. Yeah. And it's easy on a podcast because I don't, and I do it in my community all the time. Like our online community, I just talk about it. Because I know it's safe. What's your answer? You had one teed up. You knew one. You knew the right answer to this. What is it?
No, there's no right answer. No, it's that feeling of when people just look at you, right? Like, oh no, what do I do? What do I say? Like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
And then when I had one friend who I had gone through a really bad self-harm episode and she wanted to come over, and I warned her, like, I'm in long sleeves. My arms are wrapped. Please don't make any comments. And she then starts crying. And I was like, I don't want to comfort you right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm in so much pain that this was my outlet. And for me, so that's a big thing, is I don't want to have to comfort you. I don't want to have to take care of your response to my feelings of being depressed, right? Because then it fuels this narrative in my head too, where it's like, you have to take care of everyone else and your feelings don't matter. And if people see your feelings, then that's bad and you're causing them pain. So you have to be happy all the time so other people are happy. So for me, that's like a big thing.
Oh yeah. That people pleasing nature of like, I don't want to put you out. That would be a big one for me. Like, I don't want to make a big to-do about this. Oh God, that's interesting. Have you talked about self-harm? I'm super curious about it.
Yeah.
You want to dig into it?
Go for it.
Yeah, let's talk. I'm all excited. Let's talk about your pain. No, why do you do it? What is it? I have ideas, but I don't know. Like when you get to that place where you're harming yourself physically, right? That's what it is. I mean, I'm a mental person, but like, what are you going through in those moments?
Yeah, that's such a good question, and it can be.
Now I'm interviewing you.
For me personally, it's when everything feels like too much and I don't want to be here anymore. The only thing that can keep me from hurting myself is hurting myself in a different way. Right. So that becomes like, this is how I can, if I feel more physical pain than I do emotional pain, I can numb myself enough to be able to like do something to help myself in that moment. Otherwise, it's just too much. So it's creating that, it's like evening out the pain. So it's not all just emotional and mental.
What makes that's so fascinating. So you give yourself physical pain to go beyond the mental pain or the emotional pain?
Yeah.
And then where do you get to the point where you're like, enough is enough? You know, like at what point do you satiate it or whatever?
I guess when I stop crying. I think, and that's the hard part is that it's like, I wish there was, I've been learning and I've learned other ways to now cope with these really big emotions and feelings. But because I never had tools before, that was the only way I knew how to make myself stop crying. Because when I went to other people crying, right, they would just tell me to grow up, get over it, you know, think positive, right? And
nothing to cry about.
Yeah, so much inside. And I was like, I have to figure out how to make it stop. And that's kind of how it started for me, is how do I make myself stop crying? So then it would just be to like get myself to stop crying so I could catch my breath for a second, which was really hard to then unlearn, because that became the only way I knew how to stop the very overwhelming tears and I'm not going to make it idea in my brain.
Do you have to get over then the, I'm trying to think of stuff that I've done. You know, that's how we do. Like, I'm trying to relate, but this is a situation that's beyond me. Do you then feel like now that you've collected yourself, you're like the shame of look what I've done to myself. God dang it. Do you have to go through that cycle?
Sometimes. I think it's more, I'll say for me, because it's kind of how I grew up, learning to cope. It wasn't as much as shame as it was, I don't want anyone to know, and then them to like ask me about it and then start like panicking and, you know, and have to deal with their responses of it. So it was more of not a shame toward it, because in my brain, I was helping myself. I didn't understand I was also hurting myself.
Yeah.
For me, it was a tool
helping,
that I had.
Right?
It was a maladaptive coping skill, but I didn't know that at the time. And so it wasn't shame. It seemed like, oh, I'm solving my own problem. But it was, I guess, more of a guilt toward other people's reactions and not wanting to upset them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then you'll have to explain it and you'll have to be like, oh, look what I, yeah. Do you, okay, so this is good for, what if somebody's listening that like does this? How do you intervene on yourself when you're going to that maladaptive thing?
Yeah,
what's the answer?
It's a good question. For me, one thing I've learned is as soon as I start to feel the urge, I get out of my environment. right?
Oh.
So I'm not near anything that I could use to hurt myself. I remove myself. I'm very lucky that I've, for the past X amount of years, have had a job where it's on my own, right? Entrepreneur. So I am able a lot of times to leave a situation very easily. Just get up and walk out. So
Yeah.
I will go sit outside for 3 hours. I will just walk 10 miles if I have to kind of catch my breath enough to recognize I'm going to make it through this. So for me, it's literally being physically removed from anything I could use to hurt myself. And then I learned you don't have to have that, those tools in the household, right? Unless you specifically need something like to cook, right? But don't need to have it in the household, especially when you are feeling like it's something you're using as a tool all the time, right? It's something that I know I'm doing all the time. When I am able to catch my breath, how can I remove the ease of it, right? Because then if I had to go somewhere to buy something to be able to do it, right? There's so many steps ahead that I have to think through to now make it intentional. Whereas when it's happening, it's usually not an intentional, it's like a reaction.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I love that. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. And you make creating more tension to doing it than like all those little interventions, like you have to go through steps, makes it less likely to happen, right? Because you've created like obstacles to get through it.
Yeah. And
I get that.
So this day, I at home don't keep like any kind of pain medication. I don't keep anything that I could use to harm myself in a lethal or non-lethal way, right? I'm very, very intentional with what's inside my home. Even because I make encouragement cards, arts and crafts, I have kid scissors, right? I have like the fun, like kid scissors that make the different designs and stuff, but I'm not going to have anything super sharp, right? So I'm just very, very mindful of, because it's so easy to fall back into it when the pain is so much.
Oh, I bet.
But if you can remove some of the tools that make it easy, then eventually you begin to find something else. And it's terrifying and it's overwhelming, especially when that's what you know to do and suddenly it's not there. And then for me, it was a lot of sitting on the floor crying and shaking until I could figure out that I need to just get out and move that energy out of me somehow else.
Yeah. God, I can relate to some of this with addiction. So with nicotine for me and then alcohol, where it's just, I can't be in the house. It could, but if I could, I would be drinking it. Yeah. Not to be a blackout drunk or anything like that, but not even to getting wasted every night. It would just be, if it's here, I drink it. I don't have I only drink on Fridays after work. I have whiskey in the house. I drink every day after work. That's just what I do. So I can relate to, well, let me ask you this then. If you had super sharp scissors laying out, would you, if you're even not in an emotional, distressing state, would you go through the patterns of it in your mind of like, oh, should I grab those? Or are you drawn to that?
No,
that's
it's
rad.
only as a reaction to the overwhelming emotions and the pain. So learning to remove the stressors, or not the stressors, what I use to react, right? So it's not easy to obtain, as best as I can. And then also having to get comfortable with those really big emotions and comfortable crying and soothing myself. That was a big thing, right? Because tears didn't mean I had to make them stop right away. Sometimes I actually had to let myself cry. So it was only a reaction to the really overwhelming thoughts and emotions. And once I started to learn how to recognize them a little bit better and allow them to exist without feeling like I need to make them stop right this second, has really helped.
That's awesome. This is a good, meaty conversation. Oh my God.
It took me a long time to realize that it was okay to ask for help, even though the system is broken and it really does suck. Self-harm is often referred to as non-suicidal self-injury, right?
Okay.
They know that it's not usually an attempt to end your life. It's an attempt to cope, a maladaptive coping tool. So they do want to help you, but it took a long time to realize that I could ask for help in any of it, any of the process, from before it happened to after it happened.
Yeah. Man, I feel for that situation because I think that's, the positive thing about where we are now in the world with the online world is that it's so much easier to connect to people that are going through similar situations, right? I'm sure there's communities out there for people that self-harm, and then people can find that support. Because I totally get that. The idea of nobody's going to get this, or I would be afraid to bring it up because I don't want it to seem bigger than it is. I don't want it to, or whatever it would be. Oh man.
Yeah, it's like that. I don't want to make you uncomfortable by bringing it up. So now I'm going to avoid it. And now you're in your head thinking, well, are they uncomfortable? Why aren't they saying anything? And it creates this inner dialogue. And that's why it's so important to normalize the conversation, right? And be able to.
Yes, totally.
For me, being able to talk to my friends and keep them part of the conversation, letting them know where I'm at and what's going on has been such a game changer because it can be so terrifying to go through alone, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like you're trying so hard to help yourself and at the same time, and I guess I don't want to speak on behalf of anyone else. For me, I'm trying so hard to help myself and then I slip. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not better yet? Why don't I know what else to do and how to fix myself? And I go down this rabbit hole thinking I'm broken and all this. And if I don't learn to have these, if I hadn't learned to have these conversations with my friends, I wouldn't know what to say or how to say it. Now they know. My one friend, I love her dearly. Anytime I text her, I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm busy, but are you okay? Is this 911?
That's great. That's
right? Like she knows
right
that if I didn't start with hello, she's like, oh, this might be something, or Francesca wants attention, right? It could be either one. So she always responds and she always asks, because if she is really busy and she can't really just go and hang out with me because I'm bored, right? She wants me to know that if it really is something that I need immediate support on, I've got her. And I think that's been huge for me because otherwise I felt so alone in it and I was so afraid to talk about it. And then I felt so guilty when people would find out and they'd react. And when it became an open conversation, it became a way for me to feel supported and them not to feel so scared because especially for my parents, it was like, what do you say to your kid who says they don't want to be here anymore? What do you say to your kid who's hurting themselves to try to stay alive, right? You don't know because no one prepares you for that moment. So by creating these conversations with my friends, with my family, with my parents, been able to actually help alleviate a lot of the fear that they have so that our conversations can be a lot more supportive together and we can actually help me move through it instead of everyone just feels stuck in silence, not knowing what to do.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. I need gallows humor half the time. I need people that can laugh about it. Because the last thing I want to do when I'm feeling depressed is to be like, hey, let's talk about the state of the world and let's talk about how awful things can be. And I'm like, can we just make fun of me for a minute? I'm a humor person. So it's like, oh man, just to enjoy somebody's company with no conditions on it. Like I don't need the spotlight on my sorrow while we're hanging out. I just, oh man.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It's finding what works for you and knowing that whatever you're experiencing isn't permanent. That's a big thing. And finding what works for you in those moments, right? I want people to know that if that's something you're experiencing, it won't feel like the solution forever. Eventually, you will be able to find another tool. It's not going to be an easy journey when that's something you've been doing for so long, right? When that's your body's immediate reaction. And I get that. I love that. Eventually, you will find tools. You just have to keep trying, which is the hardest part. It's a trial and error for a million different things to see what works for you. But eventually, if you just keep trying, you will find small things that you can do to help you move to maybe a more helpful, less maladaptive coping tool so that you can catch your breath again, because you deserve to be able to breathe in a way that feels good.
Heck yeah. It's funny because we're reading this book in our book club. It's by Thich Nhat Hanh, No Mud, No Lotus, which is basically suffering and happiness coexist. So you can't have a lotus without mud, right? You can't have the good without the shitty. It's not about one goes away so that you can have another. It's about, you mentioned like the impermanence of it, right? Like I'm in a depressive episode. At some point it goes away. This is my reality right now. And, it's not about like, how do I shove this away so I can get over here to being happy joy guy Russ again? It's my mood state. Big deal. I still want to, do my laundry. How do I do it? That's been really helping me, like the impermanence of it all.
Yes, exactly.
Same with the joy. At some point that goes down, whatever.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wish I knew or understood earlier before I began to self-harm to cope, right? Because I was trying to switch from feeling so bad to feeling okay so that I could smile, right? And I didn't realize that it was okay when the overwhelming emotions began. It was okay to have these thoughts because other people also experience it, right? I'm not alone. It can be very scary. And I can also talk to people about it. And it won't be the only thing I think about forever, because there was a time where I wasn't. And there's a time where I won't again. And there's a time I will again, right? Like I will experience that feeling of worthlessness so many different times throughout my life, but I won't every single day for however many years I make it through this earth. Right? And I wish I knew that before I had learned a tool that became a habit of having to end the pain right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm the idea that something has to be done now. I'm experiencing this thing right now, and God, I wish it was different. And the yearning and the drive to make whoever I am in the moment different is such a slog. And the idea of, okay, no, I think it's in DBT, like that dialectical behavior therapy. They talk about radical acceptance, right? Of this is just who I am right now. If I can, I don't have to embrace it. Oh yeah, way to go me. But if I can be like, this is what I have right now. This is true. And I'm going to carry on in the world. I'm going to do a thing in the world. It's not, I don't have to solve this. That's too much homework for me anyway. I don't want to do the homework.
And we're taught that, I think throughout our lives, we're taught that we always have to be solving. If we feel like there's a problem, we have to solve it right away.
Totally.
And having emotions isn't a problem. It's part of being human. It's learning what tools help you through it. And when the emotions are so overwhelming, there may be extra tools that you need. And it's okay to reach out for support to find them. Maybe it's therapy. Maybe it's coaching. Maybe it's medication. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's a combination of a bunch of different tools. But there are things that can help you. It's just finding what's right and knowing that it's going to be so much trial and error, and what worked one time might not work the other time. And that doesn't mean that you're beyond help, right? It just means that you're growing because you're a human being, and you evolve and you change. And what you need right now might not be what you need 5 days from now. And that's okay.
Yeah. And oh man, and stick with some of these things too. Like so many of us think, oh, I'm going to meditate. And then I meditate for 20 minutes. And why isn't my whole world fixed? Like some of these things are long game. Like if we can get in, like the holistic practices are so long game, but I think they're worth it.
Yeah.
I remember having a meditating, like after I started meditating when I was 20, in my 20s somewhere. And I used to get butt hurt all day, but someone would flip me off on the freeway and I would like lose my mind. I'd be like, somebody hates me. There's a person in the world. And if only they knew me, I'm a really nice person. And it would wreck me. I think meditating after like 5 years or so like that, somebody might have flipped me off on the freeway and I would have caught myself and go, oh, that guy's mad. And I'd be like, oh, I remember when that used to like destroy my entire world. My entire existence on this planet would be destroyed by one person's reaction. Something I probably earned, you're right? If I maybe cut him off on accident. On accident.
Right, but like you learn a tool that works for you, and it took a long time to hone that practice.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with
a lot of them are long game
aspect of mental health. I mean, even when it comes to the conversation of medication, that can also be a long journey. Finding the right therapist can also be a long journey. So if those are approaches that you choose to explore for yourself, it might not be the first medication you try, the first dosage you try. It might not be the first therapist you try.
Yeah.
It might, and they might work for you. They might not work for you. One modality might be great for you in therapy and one might not. It takes a long time to figure it out. And that's okay. It's okay to go one step at a time.
Good luck. It's going to take a long time.
No, it's...
Can I speak to that long time thing though?
Yeah.
I do want to speak to the long time thing. That's why I believe in other people. Other people is the answer to these long game solutions. Is that slogging things out on your own can be really freaking hard. And so like we have people, I have a community, an online community of people for ADHD. This is what makes the slog easier for me, is that I'm in it with other people that get me. It's shame-free, judgment-free. Same with you. Like you surround yourself with people so that this slog of a journey of trying to get through these holistic things is doable. It's manageable. I couldn't do this on my own. If I was trying like a thing and it didn't work, I would beat myself up for days on end and be like, this doesn't work. I suck. But if you have other people, oh my God. Anyway, sorry, I had to ramble about that because I'm passionate about that.
And that was a big thing for me, was when I didn't know. So I live bipolar 2 disorder, which means medication is a very, very important piece for me. And when I didn't know what the medication options were, I didn't know what kind of questions to ask about side effects. I didn't know how to find a doctor that I felt like was really going to listen to me and hear me, because a lot of times I felt like I wasn't heard. And I reached out to a friend who I knew had the same diagnosis and asked what her experience was like finding the right medication, what she wished she knew going into it, what questions she would have asked, what questions she does ask, right? So I started finding people I could talk to learn more from. So then when I went in and was going along my journey, I didn't feel like I was starting from scratch. I had a little bit of knowledge of what to ask for. And so many things didn't work. One thing has worked. And even like coping skills, finding different tools, I would ask a bunch of my friends, I'm like, okay, these are the things I'm doing. What are you guys doing? Oh, I never thought about trying that. Maybe I should try that. right? Just small things you can ask other people, and you might find, even my current therapist, someone else shared her information with me. Having that community that you can ask for tools, for questions about your journey, all these things to help you figure out what's right for you. Because maybe it is one solution, maybe it's a combination of solutions. It's most likely a combination of different tools, but everyone's journey is different, and I'm not going to tell anyone what they should or shouldn't go for to do to support themselves. But I will say that being curious and creating that conversation within your community, such a difference. I had friends over and we were all coloring encouragement cards. And I don't know how it started, but we were all ended up talking about the medications that we're taking, right? And journeys with medication we were taking, or a few of them had stopped taking medication, or a few of them were interested in possibly taking medication. And it became this whole conversation of questions. And I was like, in no other world would we have sat down and started having this conversation. But how much better we all felt to feel validated. I'm like, oh, you guys also struggle? Like, it's not just a me thing. It made such a difference.
Yeah, that's amazing, right? The other peopleness of it all.
Yeah. So it is
Beautiful.
a long journey, but it doesn't feel as long and isolating when you have people around you and you have the ability to continue to learn as you go, and the willingness to want to learn, and the openness to want to learn. Because otherwise, for me, it feels like defeat all the time. But if I look at it as I'm learning, right? I learned what didn't work. I learned what could work. I learned what questions I should ask, or I could ask. It became less isolating, less scary, and it started to feel not so permanent anymore, because I wasn't failing at figuring it out. I was just learning what options were left. Process of elimination.
Yeah. I love it's the curiosity, having self-awareness and curiosity about it, like objectively, like zooming out and going, what's going on here? I'm curious why this is happening. What's going on with this? That curiosity is so much better at helping us move the needle forward than the judgment that just a thing happens, judgment, and I am a character flaw and all that stuff. Those garbagey things that we do to ourselves that don't move our needle forward at all, but like an objective curiosity was magical. It's awesome.
And that's the thing, is just staying curious and being willing to, I don't know, just something about having those conversations with people and realizing that you're really not the only one, even in your friend group, in your community, anyone in general space. There's a really good chance someone else understands. And if you just are curious and ask questions, and like you said, non-judgmental, because we can be so judgmental with ourselves, but we're not toward our friends, right? If any one of my friends called me and said I was experiencing X, Y, and Z, I'm not sure what to do, I wouldn't sit there and judge them for calling me. I wouldn't judge them for going,
you're an
through
idiot
it.
and you're wasting my time, Margaret. Yeah, we wouldn't.
I would never. So why do I do that to
That's how we
myself
feel.
instead of allowing my friends to give me that support that I love to give them, right?
Totally. Yeah. It's so bizarre. The way that we abuse ourselves in our own mind is, I'm like, what is the evolutionary, why? What are we doing? Oh, it's our brain. It's just trying to solve problems. I'm like, my brain is like a jerk to me. And it has all kinds of light and joy and love for you, but it will give none of that back.
I've been reading so much and talking with people a lot about how they begin to find awareness of the thoughts and stop them and counter them before they take over. And that's something that I can't say that I've mastered that skill in any way, shape, or form. You're most likely to find me crying at some point each and every day. Not like
I'm in the corner crying. Oh, her thoughts got her. Yeah, no, I'm same. I do my best to try to be like, to be non-confrontational, to be like, it's almost like treating myself like my brain like a roommate that pays the bills, right? I don't love him. The self-love thing is, it's beyond me. But I can treat myself like a roommate. That's like, he can stay. He's paying the bills and stuff, but I'm just not going to listen to him because the shit that he says is ridiculous. It's less like, oh, I gotta convince my brain that I'm likable. I gotta convince my brain that I'm worth it. I'm like, it's like trying to have an argument with someone on Facebook. Like, is anybody going to change their mind about about their stances in life? That's gross. So I try not to engage, I guess.
And that's a really helpful tool, is not sitting there and fighting with yourself, right? For me, a really helpful tool has been, I started taking myself out to eat, to wherever I really want to go, or one of my favorite places, every Tuesday. That's my little Tuesday routine, usually in the middle of the day. I'll go out and I'll grab something to eat and just learn to be with myself. And maybe I'm reading, maybe I'm journaling, maybe I'm just sitting there. My iPad's probably with me and I'm answering emails, to be completely honest on what I'm doing.
Oh, the truth comes out. You're online.
I also journal.
No.
And
yeah, that's awesome.
I never take out the book that I say I'm going to read. That's more of an at-home thing. However, I do always have the book with me. But the point of it is started to learn to get comfortable with myself. It's easier to drown out the thoughts for me when there's so much noise around me. Right? And there's so much happening around me, and I can look and see and kind of become more present, because I then can people watch and be curious about what other people ordered, right? Or try to guess what the situation is over there. And right, it helps take me out of my head. And that's been very useful in me learning to be okay being alone and being with my thoughts and being able to not allow them to control my brain. Right. It's because I've learned tools by forcing myself into an environment that was going to distract the thoughts. Like, people are right. Looking at using your 5 senses, right, actually helps. And I didn't realize that until I started putting myself in an environment. I was like, oh, now I'm curious. What is that? That steak looks really good. Why did I order a fruit bowl?
What was I thinking again?
I ordered a parfait, and I was like, I'm watching someone eat this really good, like, shrimp dish. And I was like, why did I order a parfait? Yeah. Like, what was going through my mind 5 minutes ago when I placed my order?
You're like, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to order something nice and light for myself.
Well, it's made with cheese. It's like,
ooh.
No, it's so good. It's like a ricotta parfait with a bunch of fresh fruit and a honeycomb. Amazing. I mean, I'm happy with my decision.
Well, listen to how you're talking about it. Screw the steak. It sounds like you ordered correctly for you.
I know I did. However, but I got distracted by other things, and I was like, why did I order this? And like, it got me out of sitting home with my brain telling me all the reasons I'm not good enough, or I don't have anyone to call to go get coffee with, or I'm not further along in life, or someone didn't answer this email or this text message. What's wrong with me? Why are they mad at me? And just start kind of spinning and spiraling. It forced me to do something in that time.
I like the idea of going out by yourself. That's so cool. Like I'm hyper distractible. So I know what everybody's life is like at the coffee shop because I've already figured it out. You know what I mean? It doesn't bode well when there's somebody having coffee with me, because I'm like, oh, I'm trying to focus on you, but I know there's a relationship problem over there. You know, I know what's happening because I can't help myself. But doing that alone sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
Because then you get to get out of your head. You get to just involve yourself in the world.
Yeah. And I used to think people would just stare at me and be like, why is she eating alone? No one cares. I never look at someone who's eating alone and try to figure out why they're eating alone.
Never.
Yeah, you're probably actually having a good time with yourself. Like, if you are willing to go out with yourself, you might realize that you enjoy it way more than you thought you would. But I've been trying to learn to only go inward with curiosity now, right? And asking why and why and why and why, and just going as deep as I can to begin to understand. And when it feels really difficult and dark or impossible to really get to, I then try to go outward by going out with someone else, or get out of my environment, go for a walk, or take myself out to eat, right? So I try to go inward only with curiosity, but when it starts to feel difficult and I start to feel that judgment coming up, I then go outward towards something else to be able to help me catch my breath. So then when I am ready to go inward again, it comes back from the lens of compassion and curiosity, not of judgment. Because once the judgment starts for me, it just spirals. And it's just learning to find these tools. And it's one thing that's really helped with going back to the self-harm at the beginning, right? Is learning that when the emotions come up and they're really big and it feels really overwhelming, allowing myself to cry, trying to stay curious on what's actually happening underneath. And a lot of times it's something that I just never gave myself like a space to feel before that's coming back up over and over again, right? And if I'm not able to really explore in a kind way toward myself and it moves out of curiosity toward judgment, then I remove myself from my environment until I'm able to catch my breath again so that I can come back and explore it when I'm ready to, at a pace that feels right for me. Because you don't have to figure it all out. We said earlier, right? Your point of you don't have to fix everything right away. Just recognizing when something isn't working, that's okay to step back and give yourself what you need. And it's what you need, not what anyone else needs.
Yes. Very cool.
Yeah. It's always a fun journey, your mental health.
Cracking open our brains. It's always it's a journey of exploration. It's like...
it's a beautiful journey of exploration sloggy. Because you get to see like all these different aspects of humanity and of who you are. And we're taught to hide so much of it.
I'm super interested in that. Yeah. The way we are, the way that we are, the way that, I don't know if that makes sense. It sounded dumb. The way we are, the way that we are is the way that we are. And that's how we are the way we are. Now, I'm super fascinated by what makes us
us.
Yeah. So it's the idea that there's some sort of a cookie cutter way to fix everything. It just doesn't make any sense. No. Especially because like you could have somebody else that self-harms or somebody else that's bipolar 2, but they're not you. They don't have your life and your life experiences and your age 18 and your age 25 and whatever it is. So there might be some similarities in global aspects of it, but like the true meat of it all, it's going to be unique. I do the same way. Like I'm in the ADHD world and the depressive world, and there's commonalities overall, like with executive dysfunction and stuff like that. But who we are is different literally every single day. Like who I am tomorrow is going to be different. So the tools that I need tomorrow are going to be different than the tools I need today. I like having some sort of like a overall baseline way of doing and being. That's how I manage my life. But the specifics, the levels, all that stuff, is it a plan A day or a plan B day? Am I going to half-ass it today or am I going to whole-ass it? Whatever. It's going to be unique every single day to everybody. That to me fascinates me.
Yeah, it's so interesting how things that make us so unique, so much of us, our individuality, how different it makes us from each other person. And our journeys can be so similar and yet so distinct, right? And you might find people who have the exact same coping skills as you. And you might find people who, like me, I've some friends who love to run. I'll run my mouth, I'll run my credit card. You will not see me outside running. It's not my thing. I love a good walk though, right? So it's like something.
Same. I think running is ridiculous personally. So you and I are on the same page with that. With my knees, like what are we running from?
Right.
Let's just walk there.
It's finding what works for you and knowing that there's where you like to walk at the pace you like to walk is exactly what you're meant to do, right? You'll get where you're going when you're supposed to. Give yourself the space to be able to figure out what works for you. And some people might need to run to get there a little bit quicker, and some people might need to walk to get there a little bit slower. It's your pace. It's your journey. And I hope that when people listening, they take away anything from this conversation, it's that it's your journey. It's yours for you to explore, for you to be curious with, hopefully to learn to let go and release a lot of that judgment and shame that can come up. and really just immerse yourself in all of who you are and what's around you, and hopefully a support system that you can lean on or ask questions to.
Yeah. That's great.
Russ, thank you so much for joining me today. How can people learn more about you?
Well, thank you for having me. You can find me. I have a podcast called ADHD Big Brother. You can Google that up, or ADHDBigBrother.com. That's where I help adults with ADHD. I'm a huge fan of community. So like, you find the people that are going through what you're going through and that take away the shame and the judgment of it, and find those people and hang out with those people. That is, God, the greatest of all.
Thank you so much for listening to Normalize the Conversation. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. This podcast is an initiative of Inspiring My Generation, focusing on normalizing the conversation, bringing education and awareness to the forefront, and amplifying global voices to spark change and hope. Inspiring My Generation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization on a mission towards suicide prevention through awareness, conversation, education, and support. Connect with us on Instagram at Inspiring My Generation, and visit our website inspiringmygeneration.org to learn more about our work and how you can make a difference.